Welcome to Subramani. I'm nowadays doing I've done a few videos on what you should be doing if you are a retired person or a retiring person. If you want to retire at 60, at 55, I would call you a retiring person, because you have to ask yourself some of these very important questions. What kind of an asset allocation will keep you happy? That's one question which only you have to answer, because nobody else will be able to say at what your ideal portfolio should be one which allows you to eat good food, sleep well, without having to worry about what happens if the Prime Minister falls ill, what happens if Yogi loses in Uttar Pradesh. Do these things bother you? Then something is wrong with you. You have got too much money in equity. You are not in a mental and physical state to be having so much money in equity. So be careful about your asset allocation. I am not saying whether you should be 90-10 equity to debt, or whether you should be 10-90 equity to debt. That's a call that you have to take, right? So don't bother too much about what the experts say. See what gives you comfort and what second is at what rate should you withdraw. Ultimately, when you're younger, when you're say 62, I'm assuming you've retired at 60, so you're 62 years of age, which means you're younger in the decumulation stage. And the decumulation stage is 60 to end of life. Let's say, assume for a minute that end of life is 95. So next 35 years. So at least for the first 15 years, you are younger in the withdrawal phase. When you're younger in the withdrawal phase, you still have to worry about inflation. You still have to see what percentage of your portfolio you're withdrawing for your day-to-day expenses. Nowadays at 62, very many people are not retired. They're actually moving around, even changing jobs and doing things like that. So all that is happening. But given the fact that you are retired and you don't have any income coming from any other place, I'm making that assumption, because if I don't make that assumption and you're earning enough to live on your day-to-day basis, then your asset allocation does not honestly matter. So decide at what rate to withdraw. Do you want to say, okay, 4% of my portfolio I will withdraw, or 3% of my portfolio I will withdraw? So checking that is also important, seeing what percentage you are withdrawing. You think you are withdrawing 3%, actually you are withdrawing 7%. It is perfectly possible. So see what rate you are withdrawing at, and I don't think there is going to be any great consensus as to how much you should withdraw. The US had this 4% theory, but now people are questioning it. As long as interest rates remain so low and equity markets are choppy, you really don't know where to withdraw, how much to withdraw. So you just started. So you're in the nets, age of 62, 63, you're still in the nets. So decide see at what rate you're withdrawing, and then you see whether you're happy with that rate of withdrawal. So if you're withdrawing say 2% or 3%, you don't have to worry too much about inflation, because the 2%, 3% gives you a lot of cushion as to what you can do with your money in terms of asset allocation. Make it grow faster, make it more steady, buy an annuity, all these questions. That brings us to the second question, that in India we don't have something called LTC insurance, which is long-term care insurance. So what happens to you if you are say 70 years of age, your wife is 69 years of age or 68 years of age, and she has dementia? Your ability to look after a woman who has got dementia, staying in a regular house in Mumbai or Delhi or some place where you don't really know your neighbors much, or even you don't know your security guard properly, living is not going to be very easy. So you may want to shift to a senior citizen home or something like that. So how much will you provide for long-term care? India does not have long-term care insurance, so you will need to provide. So it could be a separate box, or you could say, okay, this is bucket number 5 for medical emergencies only, and keep it there, keep it in a separate place. You know how much it is. Today you have 10 lakhs, tomorrow it will grow to 12 lakhs, 14 lakhs, 16 lakhs, whatever. You say this bucket is for my medical emergencies. That is going to take care of my long-term care insurance, simply because we don't have long-term care insurance. That brings us to another question. You keep asking yourself whether you have enough money to say, okay, I don't need an annuity. I have 10 crores in equities, and that is giving me about 2% of that, about 20 lakhs as dividend, which is enough for my day-to-day expenses, and therefore I don't need an annuity. But the answers are not so clear, because at 80 or 82 you may want to say, okay, just sell off everything and put money in an annuity. My children are not interested in how it is to be managed. They keep telling me, it's your money, you do whatever you want. I think they're just being lazy, but I don't have the capacity today to be able to say what asset allocation I need and things like that. So it's perfectly all right. Play it by the year. Every year you will keep reviewing, do your asset allocation, check out your insurance requirements in terms of medical insurance, etc. And that's it. You don't need to do anything much more, but get all this organized and decide when to take an annuity. For some people, normally my advice is to take at the age of 67, at the age of 75, and at the age of 81, 82. In your case, you could change it. You could take first one at 65. You could take the first one at 72. Whatever, doesn't really matter. But understand, the minute you take annuity, you will pay tax on that. So it is slightly worse than a bank fixed deposit. But however, it is one asset which can never go to zero. So at 92, if you don't understand your portfolio, somebody has done something to your portfolio, you have lost money, you did F&O, whatever, you now will have an annuity which will pay you every month, and without having to compromise on any other, you don't have to worry about asset allocation, you don't have to do any of those things. So some people like annuities, some people don't like annuities. I'm votary for debt instruments like a GSEC, 40-year GSEC, but it's your call. Ultimately, it is your call as to what you do. So look after these few things. Thank you.